Chapter 2. Excerpt from What Happened to Alyssa by Star Davis, page 34. The New York Juvenile Court retained jurisdiction despite intense public pressure to try her as an adult in hopes of a death sentence. Mary was held in the children's psychiatric ward at Bellevue Hospital under close surveillance. With the circumstantial evidence mounting, as well as inconclusive testimony from 3 separate child psychologists, Judge Maggie Brenner allowed a plea bargain, sentencing Mary to a period of up to 10 years in an adult state correctional facility, where she would be kept in isolation as opposed to a lesser restrictive private treatment program. Ms. Cooper Addison was willingly stripped of her parental rights, making Mary a ward of the state until she comes of age. The institution of choice was kept a closely guarded secret, given her age and the multiple death threats that have accompanied this case. Brenner ordered state officials to devise a long-term, comprehensive treatment program. Even as her future was being determined around her, Mary never said a word.
Hey, he's so beautiful. Have you ever seen someone so beautiful in your whole entire life?
Marisol flips back her long silky hair, staring up at the pictures and posters of Trey's songs surrounding her bed like wallpaper. He stares down at her, lust in his eyes, even while she sleeps. He stares down at me now, on the floor by her bed, waiting for Miss Carmen, our social worker, to finish room inspection. Short, skin roasted by a Spanish sun, she goes through my stuff like one of those sniffing police dogs.
He's going to be at 106 in Park tomorrow. I want to go, but I can't skip work.
Trey songs. That's all she ever talks about. His CD is on repeat again, singing about sex. That's all he ever sings about, like he knows nothing else.
Aye, but if I was there, all he need to do is take one look at all this and it'd be a wrap, yo. I'd have his baby, his son.
She pushes her chest at his picture with a kiss and he sings back. Marisol is so gorgeous that she may be right. He may take one look at her thick ass and huge tits and be sprung. If he were smart, though, he'd stay clear. She's only 17 and is always in love. That's how she ended up in here. In love, doing stupid things for stupid boys.
You like boys?
I shrug.
Me neither. I like men, real men. Real men take care of you.
Miss Carmen stops to look at her and says something in Spanish. Marisol rolls her eyes.
Mary,
Miss Carmen snaps at me. Why do all your underwear have holes in them? I shrug and flick a clump of dirt off my sneaker. She curses under her breath and calls Miss Stein as Trey Songz sings Panty Droppa in the background. Marisol laughs.
Judy, have you been giving Mary her allowance? All her panties have holes in them.
Miss Stein holds up a pair, sticking her fat fingers through the rips and glares at me.
Why haven't you bought some underwear? What did you do with all your money?
I shrug.
Who cares? Marisol says. Not like she has a man to see them.
Ms. Carmen nips at her in Spanish again.
Damn it, Mary, Miss Stein flusters. You can't walk around with holy underwear. Now don't you feel stupid?
Not really. It only bothers me a little when Ted sees them.
Make sure she buys underwear next week, Miss Carmen says. If someone sees these, they'll say we're mistreating her or something.
They leave the room complaining about how stupid I am. As soon as they're out the door, Marisol shoves me away from our bed.
Disgusting, puta, you smell like pussy through your holy panties.
I straighten my side, then put my money, cell phone, and pocket knife back in their hiding spot. There's a lot that goes into reforming a teen felon. I'm reminded of this every morning when I look at my weekly schedule. As part of our parole program, we have fitness on Mondays and Wednesdays and group therapy on Tuesdays and Thursdays. On Friday, we're given our weekly allowance of $30, which goes towards any personal items like tampons, underwear, Metro cards, and lunch during the week whenever we're not at the home. Sundays are for educational field trips that we never go on and visitations. Our only day of freedom is Saturdays after we finish our chores, but we still need approval to leave before checkout. I also have to prepare for the GED, pick a trade, and go to vocational school. It's Ms. Carmen's job to advise me on my options. I think she's my 8th social worker, but I'm not sure. I've lost count. The other social workers I've had stop by baby jail once a month, if they could remember, dropping off animal coloring books, reading and math worksheets, and crossword puzzles. I'd eat through them like air. They'd also leave board games and cards, but for what? There was no one else like me. There was no one for me to play with. Baby jail was what they called my cell block, but I was the only baby there. So, Mary, Miss Carmen asked in a dead voice during my first week at the group home, fiddling with her rosary like a candy necklace. What do you want to be when you grow up? At first, this gave me hope. No one had asked me what I really wanted to do in years, but I knew the answer. I wanted to be a teacher. When I was little, I used to line my toys up in front of an imaginary chalkboard and give reading lessons. I'd even sit Alyssa on my lap and teach her the ABCs. Mama would say, "She's too little, baby. She can't even talk yet." But I didn't care. Alyssa was going to be smart. I was going to see to that. When I wrote teacher on a piece of paper and showed it to Miss Carmen, she chuckled but wasn't actually amused. Well, I don't think that's a good idea. Miss Carmen is one of the names on a long list of people who don't really like me, which seems ass backwards since she's responsible for my well-being. I think it's because she is super Catholic and I killed a baby or something. Allegedly. She made it very clear I would never work with children, that no baby killer would ever be able to work with children. Ever. I'd scratched out teacher and then wrote nurse. Well, all right. The pills. Can't touch those either. After an hour of discussing what is left to do with my life at the ripe old age of 15, it was then determined that the safest career path for a psychopathic baby killer is cosmetology. That is what she chose for me. Another brilliant decision made by a government official. So I sit in GED class for 2 hours pretending to know nothing, then learn about perms and curling irons for another 4 hours. Checkout is a pain in the ass. Ms. Reba has to write down the date and time we leave, where we're going, and a description of the clothes we're wearing. But she writes slow as shit and can't spell worth a damn. Gray sweatshirt, blue jeans, gray sneakers, pink smock. Wait, how do you spell smock again? Every day we have to be checked back in the house by 9, or they'll call the marshals, track us by our anklets that won't let us go more than a 3-mile radius away, and throw us in juvie. No questions asked. Ms. Reba calls it AWOL when girls don't come home on time. Don't really know what that means, though. Another part of my parole is 25 hours of community service a week. They assigned me as a candy striper at Greenview Nursing Home, where I change pissy sheets and feed diabetic ice cream to the dying. It's actually the most peaceful part of my week. No one bothers me, and I'd rather be surrounded by the semi-dead than what passes for the living at the group home. There are 5 floors at Greenview. First floor, assisted living, for those who still have their senses but can't be bothered with the real world. $100 cable bill would give them a stroke. Second floor, old and tired, for those whose batteries are dying, becoming slow-moving toys no one wants to play with. Third floor, hospice, for those literally knocking on heaven's door, waiting for someone to answer. Fourth floor, purgatory, for those slowly losing their sense of self. And the fifth floor, hell, otherwise known as the dementia ward, for those possessed by demons who took over the bodies of the people you once loved. I prefer the 4th and 5th floors. Familiar circumstances. It's 5 o'clock, time to meet Ted. The dining hall at the nursing home smells like baby jail, like old cafeteria food, piss, and moldy flesh. He is at our table under the vent, bobbing his head to some music. He jumps up and glances around before kissing me, his lips lingering. I fall into his hug, wishing I could stay folded in his arms forever. There is literally nothing better in the world than his hugs. Hey, he says. Hey. Class was fun? Fascinating. He chuckles and we sit down to eat. Turkey meatloaf, mashed carrots, chicken broth, and a white roll. Babe, you missed it, he says. Lady from 207 rolled up on the lady from 110 for flirting with her boyfriend. By rolled up, you mean in her wheelchair? Yep, they were about to throw blows before Miss Legion stepped in. I thought he was messing with 420. Nah, that was last month. She caught him pinching some nurse's butt in the TV room. Now she can't even remember his name. And he got 121 sneaking him cupcakes when he knows his blood can't take all that sugar. Damn, 211 is a pimp. Ted's smile fades and he slides an extra milk on my tray. Still no period? I sigh. Still no period. My period is now 10 days late. We both know what it could mean but refuse to acknowledge it. Life is hard enough as it is. The first time I ever saw Ted wheeling a woman from the 2nd floor into the community room, all I noticed was his knuckles, cut up and scarred like he'd been punching through brick walls all his life. He reminded me of a Hershey's Kiss with his rich, smooth, dark chocolate skin, slick with Vaseline that glowed under his pink scrubs. Pink meant he was a candy striper from a group home, like me. You'd have to be stupid to volunteer for this type of work. Our eyes locked for a moment too long. I'd buried my hot face back in my book because I'd felt them. The butterflies Mama always told me about, terrifying but exciting. Anyways, I got you something. His voice snaps me back to the now as he digs in his book bag, pulling out a black plastic shopping bag, placing it in my lap. It's square, thick, and heavy. What's this? Something you wanted? I slide the bag half off. A book. Kaplan SAT Strategies, Practice and Review. My smile is so wide it feels unnatural. I make sure no one's watching before I kiss him. Thank you. His rough hands caress my face, eyes soft and searching. He always looks at me like that, like I'm the most amazing thing he's ever found. He is sort of amazing too. Who knew I would find the one person who understands me, no words necessary, among the half-living? You know your feelings are showing. He grins. I know, right? My bad. I kiss him again, the sparks addicting, and his hands rub against my thigh under the table. I can feel the new band-aids on his fingers, probably from school. Ted is studying to be an electrician. Out of juvie 6 months for a crime he won't tell me about but swears he didn't do. I don't pry. I don't want him knowing what I've done either. So, he said, nuzzling behind my ear, what's it like being the baddest chick in the old folks' home? The baddest? He laughs, eyes widening. Calm down, babe. Baddest like the hottest, like beautiful. Oh, I'm saying I don't want to have to fight 211 over what's mine. My face burns and I shy away from his stare. I'm sure you can take him. I flip the book over, the price $39.95. Whoa, how'd you get this? Ted rolls his eyes. Don't worry about it. You need it, don't you? Ted's allowance is like mine. There is no way he could afford a $40 book and still live. But where'd you get the money? Baby, did you steal it? He sighs, playing with my hair. You really want to know? Thoughts wander, but I don't flinch at them. No, not really. We finish dinner and head to the elevator, standing side by side like a pair of parallel lines. He moves his hand an inch closer, brushing his knuckles against mine. My eyes close. The slow static shock stings my fingers, leaving me warm and breathless. Doors open. Ms. Legion, the nursing home director, steps out and we part like the Red Sea. From the deposition of Miss Allen Rue, Mary Addison's 4th grade teacher. The best way I could describe Mary is gifted. She was one of the brightest, most brilliant students I ever had. She could read at an 8th grade level and excelled in mathematics. I once gave her a math test fit for a 6th grader. She finished it in 30 minutes, scoring a 90 out of 100. There are 756 pages in the SAT prep book. If I study 50 pages a week, I'll be ready to take the exam by December. That's if the mice don't eat my book first. They've already nibbled on the edges. Ted and I have a plan. Since he's older, he'll be off parole before me, hopefully by the time he finishes school so he can get a job in an apartment. I won't be released until I'm 19, maybe longer. Until then, I'll take half of my allowance each week and save for school. That is $15 a week for 52 weeks, which comes out to $780. Times that by 4 years, I'll have $3,120 by my first semester. Ted will take care of us while I go to school and study business. Then we'll open up our own hardware store, get married, and put the past behind us. I wrote the plan out in my cosmetology notebook. In order for colleges to potentially overlook my conviction, I have to fall in the 98th percentile, 200 points less than perfect. Verbal, I can handle with no problem. I read the whole dictionary one time because I didn't have anything better to read. Math will be tricky. Sure, I'm real good at counting in my head. I always counted out the rent money Mama kept in the coffee can above the stove. We were always short and Mama would yell at me for counting it wrong. I counted right, we were just short. But the SATs have these graphs, shapes, and formulas I've never seen before. And my GED class only covers the basic stuff. I'll have to learn the rest on my own. On top of all that, I don't want the girls or Miss Stein knowing what I'm up to. They'll only screw up my plan. So this all has to be in secret. Hi, what are you doing? Damn, I really hope Tara isn't talking to me, but the room is mad tense and quiet, so I know something is up. I keep my back to them. bedsheet like my own personal tent and continue flipping pages. Maybe if I just ignore her, she'll go away.
Aye, psycho! I said, what you doing?
She yanks the sheet and the book falls off my bunk, slapping the wooden floor. I can't untangle myself fast enough to jump down and grab it before she does.
What's this?
The whole room is staring at us, but I can't focus on anything else besides the book Ted gave me in her fat, greasy hands. It's like she's touching him, my Ted. Just the thought of that makes me itch from toes to fingertips. My tongue detaches itself from the roof of my mouth and pushes out some words. Give it back, I mumble. The whole room freezes and Tara's mouth drops. They've never heard my voice before. Someone in the background whispers and, oh shit, and Tara grins. Or what? Rip. She tears the cover. Give it back, I say, wishing I could talk louder or at least sound dangerous. Laughing, she rips the first pages, crumbling them into balls on the floor. I grab for the book and she holds it over her head, knocking me right on my ass. Rip! Another page. That itch in my toes sends a shock through my whole body and I launch at her feet. She topples over slow like a black domino, screaming. The house shakes when she lands. Fight! 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 The girls scream, giggling. But this is a David and Goliath type of battle. I have no chance of winning. So I jump up with the book and run out of the room toward the stairs. Tara clambering to pull herself up and chase after me.
Fucking bitch, I'm gonna kill you!
I tuck the book under my arm and race down the stairs. Tara comes thundering down the hall after me, each step like an earthquake. I can't stop fast enough before slamming into the front door. Locked. It's after 9. The door is bolted shut for the night. Tara trips down the stairs with a scream. I buckle back, jumping over her, and race to the back of the house. With all this noise, where is Miss Reba? Tara's at my heels. I duck into the kitchen, throwing a chair in her way. She falls again. Shit, she's really mad now and I'm trapped. I claw at the window, but the lock won't budge. Where the hell is Miss Reba? That noise had to wake her up by now. I know she's always 10 minutes late to the party, but damn! Tara gets up, madder than mad. It hits me that I'm hiding in the kitchen, near all the knives. Not the smartest move, but Tara isn't bright enough to even consider that. This was the same girl who taped a pen to a ruler, for Christ's sake. Fucking bitch! Clutching the burning radiator pipe, I cower in the corner, chip paint splintering up my nails. I pull myself into a little ball on the floor and squeeze my eyes shut. Tara yanks at my shirt, trying to shake me off the pipe, banging on my hands to loosen my grip. Screaming, she gives up and starts beating me, fists slamming against my back like a raging gorilla. I clench the pipe and start to pray. The last time I prayed this hard, Alyssa wasn't breathing. Why won't you breathe, Alyssa? The lights come on and the fists stop. I look up and Miss Reba has Tara in a chokehold, all out of breath from trying to beat me to death. Calm down, calm down. Miss Stein comes limping in. Jesus Christ, what's going on? The book, sandwiched between the pipe and me, topples over as I let go, falling on my back with a gasp. Pain rips through me as I stare at the ceiling, catching my breath. Herbert flies over, and for one insane moment, I wonder how he is surviving in this place while I'm the one being batted down like a fly. Miss Stein bends quicker than I ever thought she could and picks up my book, examining it like a Rubik's Cube. I sit up and lean against the stove, the movement unbearable. What's this? The floor is full of dust and belly-up water bugs. I don't say nothing. Ms. Reba drags Tara into the living room, trying to calm her down.
I'll kill you! I'll fucking kill you! I said, what is this, Mary?
Miss Stein barks. I'm fighting to breathe and losing. Breathing hurts my lungs, which hurts my back. It's a book. Miss Stein's eyes go wide and her head snaps to Ms. Reba. They've never heard me talk before either. Wait, what did you say? It's a book, I mutter again. Miss Stein doesn't know how to react. Thoughts all jumbled and thrown off by a few words. She frowns, then blows out a huff of hot, smelly air. I know that, dummy. What the hell you need an SAT book for, Mary? All this fighting and carrying on, waking folks up in the middle of the night over some book for a test you too stupid to take? A knot rolls into my throat and I try to swallow it back. Don't snap, Mary. Don't. I wouldn't go to baby jail if I killed Miss Stein. I'd go to prison, a real prison. I'd never see Ted again.
You're never going to get into college. They don't take killers in college.
Don't kill her, Mary. Don't kill her. Miss Stein flips the book over and looks at the price.
Where'd you get this?
It was a gift.
Bullshit, ain't no gift. Who bought it for you then?
I can't know about Ted. No one can know about Ted. Miss Stein puts her free hand on her hip. Well, I guess I'll have to lie. I hate lying, but I've been doing it all my life. No sense stopping now. I bought it. You bought it? You bought a 40-something dollar book. You expect me to believe that? Okay, then, where's the receipt? I can't think. My back hurts too much to think. I don't know. Rule number 5, Mary. Anything you buy, you have to show proof, and that means a receipt. We can't have you stealing shit and bringing it in here. She stands smirking at me, and my mind goes blank. So you don't have the receipt. Eyeing over her shoulder, the entire house is in the kitchen watching. New girl looks straight frightened. There is no way out of this. There is no way I'm going to get my book back. I shake my head no. You steal some book you too stupid to read and cause all this goddamn commotion? I didn't steal it, I mumbled toward the floor. Oh, really? Well, I'm just going to hold on to this. And when you find that receipt, you can get it back. Ted finds me in the walk-in freezer, leaning my back against the icy wall. He pulls me out and takes me to one of the empty rooms on the 3rd floor where a patient died this morning. Let me see. Wincing, I lift my arms, and he slowly removes my smock and my undershirt. He unhooks my bra and turns me around. A quick breath whistles through his teeth, and I'm happy I can't see his face. Shit, baby. I'm okay. Your back is purple. I sigh and it hurts. The room smells of stale diapers, old shoes, and death. Just lay down, he says. Hurry, we don't have a lot of time before Ms. Legion comes looking for us. I climb into bed, whimpering with every movement, and collapse on my stomach. He runs out, returns minutes later with a few ice packs, and gently places them on my back, covering them with a damp towel. The cold stings like hell, but it's better than nothing. He slides into the small twin bed with me, and our noses kiss. Having him near me, I start to heal. You aight? She took my book. He frowns but doesn't pry. That's what I love most about us. No questions, no explanation needed. Chest to chest, I breathe with him, his heart a drum in my ear. He sits his chin on top of my head and plays with my hair. It's okay to cry, you know. You can cry in front of me. I don't cry. His fingers graze my cheek. You a bad liar, Ma. I exhale a calming breath and close my eyes. If I was, I wouldn't be here. 2 days later, Ted finds the receipt at the bottom of his book bag. He didn't steal it after all, which makes me wonder how he afforded it in the first place, but I don't ask. I get to the house before dinner and slap the receipt on Miss Stein's desk. We stare at each other. Now would be the time for her to apologize, but she doesn't. Instead, she opens her drawer and hands back my tattered book. I snatch it and walk straight to my room. Maybe Ted and I need a new plan because I have to get the hell out of here. Soon. The unfinished basement is the exact size of the visitor's room above it, with a storm door leading to a junky backyard. Dark, damp, and always cold. I hate it down here. I hate therapy. Hi, ladies, Ms. Veronica says in a nasal voice. She always reminds me of the lady on that show I used to watch with Mama, the nanny. She looks like her too. Mad tall, long black hair, and super white skin with lots of makeup. We sit in a circle of metal folding chairs while she runs at the mouth. How was everyone's weekend? What did you ladies do? Who wants to share? Anything exciting? Well, I had a really nice dinner with my hubby on Saturday. We had Indian for the first time. First, let me tell you about Miss Veronica. She is straight up the most unrelatable person to have ever entered the group home. Ever. She doesn't belong here. But every Tuesday and Thursday, she leads us in group sessions about anger, trying to make us discuss our feelings in order to find what she refers to as peace. There is no such thing as peace in a group home. Why is she so unrelatable? Because she is too damn happy all the time, mad optimistic, thinking that everything will turn around with the snap of a finger and we'll all live happily ever after. Sweet, but unrealistic. Some of these girls still use their fingers to count. Okay, ladies, let's take out our journals. Who wants to be the first to share? Our feelings journals. Notebooks we're supposed to write in 3 times a week about our feelings. No one writes in them. No one has feelings in here. Ms. Veronica starts talking about sadness and what it means to be sad and how sadness makes us do terrible things. I overheard Miss Stein talk about her once. She is from Staten Island, married young and rich, so this little therapy job is sort of a joke. So does anybody really want to talk about a time that was sad? I mean, really, really sad? No one says anything for a while, then China raises her hand. She is always the first person to speak. My mom's. She kicked me out when she caught me with my first girlfriend. Pretty little light-skinned thing with curly hair. She glances at me and I stare at the floor. Kelly rolls her eyes and mouths, ew. China is the manliest person in the house. She wears nothing but boy clothes, even boxers, which seems like overkill. Mama would be disgusted at the nasty lesbian I'm living with. She hates anything that's not in the Bible, which seems like everything. How long you been a rug muncher for? Joy, inappropriate, Ms. Veronica says in a shaky voice. Joy rolls her eyes and the others snicker. Anyway, though, she kicked me out the house and I was, on the streets for a little while before I linked up with my crew. Don't you mean your gang? Kelly corrected. Blood or Crip? Kaisha asks. She's a blood. Was a blood. Not no more. The room goes silent. Miss Veronica, wide-eyed, nods for her to continue. Anyways, I linked up with my crew and started getting into things. Then, like a couple of months later, I ran into a boy who lived on my block. Said mom's was in the hospital. So I go to check on her and she was in this room with all these machines and stuff hooked up to her. She looked real bad. Doctor said she had cancer. When she woke up and saw me, she started screaming, "Get that bitch out of here. I don't want to see her." It's like, damn, yo. She didn't even want to see me on her deathbed. She died like a month later. Didn't have the right insurance to keep her. It hurt, because I was always the one taking care of her. She wasn't that smart, so she didn't keep a job for too long. A week after she died, I got caught. What did you do? The new girl asks, and the whole room stares. It's the first time she has opened her mouth. I think she even shocked herself. China likes slashing people's faces for fun, Kelly snickers. Yo, why don't you mind your own fucking business? Make me, you dyke bitch. Whoa, ladies, language, what do you talk about? The room erupts and I stay still, thinking about how I took care of my mama. She needed watching after, especially when she was having a day. I was falling off a building, or that's what it felt like, falling to my death off my bunk. But I didn't fall, I was yanked. My feet hit the floor, balance off, eyes still closed. I can barely stand up straight before I'm dragged out of the room. Get in there now. Miss Stein grips my arm so hard she leaves half-moon imprints with her nails, blood throbbing to break through the skin. She throws me in the bathroom, eyes crusted with sleep. A black mop in one hand and a hairy, rusty sponge in the other. The sun hasn't even got up yet. Well, just don't just stand there, she snaps from the hallway. Clean up. We stared at each other because she knows I'm on kitchen duty this week. She knows I shouldn't have to clean the bathroom, but this is punishment. She had to do something. She couldn't let me get away without smarting her. Not in front of the other girls. Hurry up! I want that toilet shining. My hand tightens around the mop, ready to shove it in her fat mouth. But then I remember the cement blocks of my cell in baby jail and slowly lift up the toilet seat. A ring of shit splatter circles under the rim. I dry heave the moment the stench hits my nose. Oh, quit your bitching. It's your own damn food. Here, put a little bleach on it. She dumps the bleach in the bowl and it splashes on my pajamas. I can taste last night's dinner in the back of my throat, hot dogs and broccoli. My back stings as I hunch over, wiping the shit with the sponge. Small chunks fall into the water, pieces splattering on my hand. My eyes are so watery from the coughing and heaving that I'm almost blind. It's too hot. I need air. Wash off that sponge. It's still good to clean the tub. And take out that garbage too. It fucking stinks in here. Hurry up, Mary. I ain't got all day. The garbage reeks of old rolled up pads with dry period blood and Kaisha's empty Noxzema jars. The smell hits the bottom of my stomach and I heave so hard my chest aches. Splat! Pink and white vomit covers my bare feet, slime seeping between my toes, even as chunks still hang off my lips. Ew, Mary, that's disgusting. Well, you gotta clean them floors anyway. Here, use some of this bleach. Make them floors shine. Interview with correction officer at Bedford Hills Correctional Facility. Anonymous. A little black girl who kills some white baby. Man, that kid was famous, face all over the fucking news. And that was the problem. She couldn't stay in the youth detention center or she'd be eaten alive. And she couldn't be with the adults because they know better. So what do you do with a kid who murders a baby? Where do you put her? What do you feed her and when? No one knew. And you can't have some 10-year-old little girl skipping around the yard, now can you? So yeah, she spent a lot of time in the hole, but if they didn't know what to do with her, how are we supposed to know? It ain't like she could go crazier than she already was. You ask me, we were doing her a favor. Dinner time. It's Kraft macaroni and cheese day, made from powdered cheese and water. Reminds me of the first meal I ate in baby jail, served with a side of peas and carrots on a square blue plastic plate, like a TV dinner. I'd had TV dinners before, or Kraft mac and cheese. I'd seen commercials for the stuff between my cartoons after school, but Mama would home and say things like, "That stuff is so fake, all them preservatives and chemicals. You like your mama's mac and cheese, don't you, baby girl?" Mama made the best mac and cheese, the best fried chicken, the best collard greens. I miss her food more than her. She cooked almost everything and was always ranting about fake food. Problem was, you had to have money to buy real food, and she'd rather us starve than eat a pack of ramen noodles. So we did a lot of starving. After dinner and cleanup, everyone runs to the TV room to watch reality shows. I'm no therapist, but it doesn't seem like a good idea for girls with raging tempers to watch grown women fighting on TV. My favorite show is Law and Order Special Victims Unit, but no one else in the house likes it. Shit is mad fake. Cops don't care like that. And those trials are mad fast. I didn't get offered no deal like that. But I think it's real. It has to be. Detective Olivia Benson, the lady cop, seems so, I don't know, smart and mad nice. She can always tell when someone is lying, always making friends with the victims and doesn't stop until she gets the real bad guy. Sometimes I imagine what life would have been like if she was the person on my case. She would have said, "Mary, it's okay. I know you love that precious little girl. My gut tells me you didn't kill her. And I promise you, I won't stop until I find out the truth." Then a week later, I would be free because her gut is never wrong. Maybe even stay at Benson's house because she likes me so much and wants to protect me. She adopt me? Could she? Damn, my life would have been so different if I had Benson and not the man who gave me that cheeseburger. In the shower, I find another freckle or beauty mark, I'm not really sure. That makes 23. So pale and bony, nothing about me screams black child. I don't mind though, just makes me wonder if my daddy is white. Whenever I tried to ask about him, Mama would act like I was crazy and say, "What are you talking about? Ray is your daddy." Ramon, Ray, stepfather number two, was a 5'3" Dominican. Even Mama was taller than him, but he'd beat her down to his eye level all the time. His skin like honey wheat toast. He wore glasses that would fall off his face and break whenever he came home drunk. He was also missing about 4 of his front teeth. I looked nothing like Ray. And thank God for that. But my real daddy, he is out there looking for me. No one wants to be that kid in an orphanage, waiting to be rescued by her real parents like an Annie. But some nights I dream about him. In my dreams, he is a big, tall, rich, handsome white man. He'd pull up in his limo, walk through the door, wrap his arms around me, and say, "I've been waiting my whole life to meet you." Then he would save me from this place and Mama. There are 2 computers in the corner of the basement we're allowed to use for 30 minutes at a time. This is where I find New Girl hanging out in her pajamas. Do I say something? Maybe. It's only us, and she's a wet noodle compared to the others. "What are you doing?" She yelps, jumping from the chair and turning off the monitor in one swift motion, backing away, eyes wide and white as light bulbs. "Listen, I'm not going to hurt you." I chuckle. "You're too old for me to hurt anyways." Her eyes grow wider, hands shaking like I'm a cold wind. I have scared what little color she has right out of her. Bad joke, I guess. I shrug and walk to the opposite side of the room, giving her space. I'm used to being a leper, so my feelings aren't hurt. She waits until I'm seated at the other computer before returning to hers, fingers flying fast across the keyboard. They didn't let me take computer classes in baby jail. I don't know why. I bang on the mouse, but the screen stays black. Thought you just moved it and it would turn on. Maybe it's broken? But New Girls is working. You know how to turn this on? New Girl's mouth drops, eyes blinking a few times. "You never used these before? Why she gotta ask like that, like I'm stupid or something?" Still, I can't meet her eye and it's mad embarrassing. She hesitates before creeping over, clicking a button on the back of the black box. "Thanks," I mumble as my screen comes to life. She scurries back to her seat, still eyeing me like she doesn't know what to think while I click on the Google logo. I've seen Miss Carmen on it before. She would type in something and all this information would pop up, so I punch in the letters ACT with one finger. "I Googled you," New Girl says, a tremble in her voice. "I remember I was 10 when you killed that baby." I let out a sigh before turning to her. "Allegedly." She swallows hard, eyes returning to her screen. Honestly, I'd never thought about looking myself up before. What did she see? The stories, the TV shows, pictures, maybe pictures of Alyssa. There are probably tons of pictures of her on Google. They wouldn't give me a picture in baby jail. I was put on cell restriction for even asking. Matter of fact, I was always on cell restriction. The COs were never eager to open my cell. They'd rather keep me locked up all day, staring at the gray cement, thinking of Mama and Alyssa. It's easier to keep an animal in a cage than to play with it. But I'm not in baby jail anymore. All I have to do is type my name and then I can see her. I delete SAT and type Marya. There was a lot about you, though, about how you did it. How I did it. Did what? Oh, right. I didn't mean to throw her. Are you Googling everybody? I asked. No, just you. You're the celebrity. That's why they hate you. Who? The other girls. Oh, I thought the whole world hated me. They probably do, like the ones in front of the courthouse. All those people yelling and screaming, Alyssa on big posters and t-shirts. There will be pictures of them too. Backspace, backspace, backspace. They all seem crazy. The others, don't they? I know crazy. I've lived with it for a long time. But none of these girls are crazy. They're just stupid. They made stupid decisions for stupid reasons. I guess you could say I'm stupid too. I guess. Do you ever think about that night? My eye twitches and I sigh. Every day. Excerpt from the final autopsy report of Alyssa Richardson. Description of patient. 12-week-old Caucasian female. Brown hair, blue eyes. 13 pounds, 5 ounces. Time of death. Approximate time of death between 7:30 and 9:30 p.m. External examination. Bruising on forearms, upper right thigh, and center forehead. Ecchymosed bruising under the left eye. Cause of death, asphyxia due to strangulation. Stomach contents, colostrum's lactate, breast milk, ethylphenidate, Ritalin, and clonidine. Manner of death, homicide. The moaning through my thin walls wakes me up. Mama and Ray sexing again. Why does she have to be so loud? When he's done with her, he'll come for me. I know it. He's coming, he's coming, he's coming. The tremors start, body shaking from my toes to my ears. I should try to hide again, but I'm too afraid to move. How bad will it be if he finds me this time? Where's Bear? I reach for him, feeling for a stiff clump of fur, but I'm alone. My sheet's rough and scratchy. This is not my bed. This isn't my room. Where am I? The smell of Tara's stank feet brings me back to the group home, but I still hear moaning. Marisol's bed is empty. She must be next door with China. Another night visit to her bunk. Poor new girl has to witness it. I told you it ain't my fault. I don't want to hear it. You know the rules. I roll over away from the door and cover my head with a pillow, but I can still hear Joy and Miss Stein screaming downstairs. It must be really late because lights out was at least 2 hours ago. There was a fire on the tracks at Union Square. All the trains were stopped. I was waiting for almost an hour. How else was I supposed to get home? You expect me to buy that? It's 1 in the morning. Check-in is at 9. Where the hell were you? I told you I was waiting for the train. Fine, you don't want to tell me, then tell the marshals. But I came home. You're late. You went AWOL. Yo, I didn't. And you changed your clothes, Ms. Reva adds. That's not the outfit you had on this morning. It got dirty. Strike 2, Joy. You're on house restriction for the rest of the month and bathroom duty. What? Yo, that ain't fair. I didn't do nothing. Damn, house restriction is the worst. It's like real house arrest. You can't leave for nothing except school, and even then they escort you back and forth like COs. I was on house restriction for a month when I first got to the house. Once they figured out I wasn't a threat, they gave me a Metro card, subway map, and pointed me in the direction of the bus. Kaisha said we lucky. She'd been in another group home where they was on house restriction all the time. Marisol moans louder. China must almost be done with her. Joy is hollering for her freedom. I pin the pillow tighter to my ears, nauseous and feeling anything but lucky. You know, I was thinking, Ted says, his arm wrapped around my waist, sitting on some crates in the low light of the janitor's closet. We should get out of Brooklyn. Snuggling under his arm, I lean into his chest, breathing easy. I can imagine us like this in the apartment Ted always talks about getting for us once we're out. And go where? The Bronx or something? He laughs. Nah, like leave New York for good. Get you into school someplace out of here, maybe down south or California. They ain't got no snow out there. I don't know what to say. I mean, all we know is Brooklyn. We can't just leave all we know. He peeps my face and shrugs. Mad tired of this place. Always something. What's wrong? You scared? You think I'd let anything happen to you? I'm not scared. I know wherever we go, if Ted is there, then I'm safe. But what about Mama? How could I be so far away from her? What would she do without me? Would she even notice I'm gone? We'll be straight, Ma, just you and me, he says and kisses my forehead. I swallow, thinking of my missing period, hoping it really will just be him and me. But maybe going away would be good. The further we are, the less likely he'll find out that I killed a baby. Allegedly. Oh, snap, I almost forgot. Ed pulls a crumpled piece of yellow paper out of his pocket and irons it out. They have a practice test at Brooklyn Tech on Saturday. Free SAT practice, Saturday, September 26th. Come practice for the real thing, Brooklyn Technical High School. You should go, he says. I stuff it in my pocket with a shrug. I'm about a third of the way through my book. The vocab isn't too hard, though I can always learn more words. The math isn't too bad either, since it turns out I'm pretty good at geometry, but there's still a bunch of stuff I don't know. What if I fail? It's just practice, right? And you ain't gonna fail. You're mad smart. But what if I fail? I say again without looking at him. You won't. Chill. He eases me onto his lap, tickling the back of my neck with kisses. I don't even know where Brooklyn Tech is. I got you, babe. I won't let you get lost. No need for an Amber Alert. I laugh. Ted remembers everything, like how I hate being lost, afraid I'll never be found. He keeps me safe, warm, and grounded, even when I want the earth to swallow me up. During that first week at Greenview, I could feel Ted watching me in the halls, in the kitchen, and patients' rooms, staring, heat in his eyes. I mean, I was curious about him too. I kept thinking, is this what boys do? Make you feel naked with all your clothes on? And the way he smiled at me like he was honestly happy to see me reminded me of a time when someone wanted me. I would have given anything to have that again. The next week in the dining hall, he planted himself at my table without asking, slurping up soup and crackers. His presence was like a space heater, the feeling confusing. Too nervous to hold a spoon steady, I rubbed my feet against the carpet, desperate to run and hide. This went on for a week, every day him sitting next to me, calmly eating his food, me frozen in terror. Maybe it was the way he didn't push me to talk, but by the next week, my muscles, tense and hardened from baby jail, began to ease. I started eating again, enjoying his silent company, no questions, just the comfort of knowing he was there and didn't want a thing from me. Then one day, he slid his milk onto my tray without looking up and said, I love your eyes. It was the nicest thing anyone had said to me in years, and I panicked. Always alone in my cell, I didn't know how to talk to people. I mean, how do you tell someone you're a mute, for Christ's sake? But for some reason, with him, I couldn't just say nothing either. So I stared at his knuckles and blurted out the first thing I thought of. What did you do? I'd slapped my mouth shut, horrified. Shit, what a stupid thing to say. He'd smiled and said, So how long you been out? And then my whole universe had opened up and he became my son. Saturday comes fast. I leave the house at 6:30 in the morning to meet Ted at the station. I lied and told Reba I volunteered for extra hours so she'd unlock the door for me. We take a bus to the L station, transfer to the C train, and get off at Lafayette. Ted holds my hand as we walk down the brownstone-lined block under giant trees toward the park. Mama told me only millionaires live in these brownstones. I didn't believe her. Why would rich folks want to live in Brooklyn? But it's so clean and pretty over here. The house is so huge. No crackheads, no bodegas, not even a liquor store. Just wine shops. So maybe she's right. Brooklyn Tech is big. I mean, it takes up a whole city block. It's the biggest school I've ever seen. The roof touches the clouds. The windows, maybe 1,000 of them, are covered in mesh metal. No escape. There are other kids like me walking through big metal doors that slam hard behind them. My chest feels funny. I try to pull my hand away, but Ted grips it tighter. Big like hospitals. Big like baby jail. White rooms, don't leave me. I have to throw up. Ted lets go of my hand as I rush between two parked cars and puke everything out of my stomach. I recognize the blueberry muffin and cranberry juice I had on the train ride over. $2.25. I wipe my mouth with the tissue in my bag and rub my hands with sanitizer free from the nursing home. Ted watches, his face a stone. I know what he's thinking. Still no period. Ted clears his throat. Maybe we should come back another day.